Canada.
Is it then? Please tell these guys.
It's Tony time, bitches!
Welcome to Tony's MMA Corner, the only MMA channel hosted by a feminist. I love broads. I am your host, Tony Sepulveda! And today, we have plenty to go over. Like Dana's challenge to Tyson Fury, and does Canada have something to be angry about given its main event at UFC 289. But before we get into all that, if you haven't already, be sure to sign up for my email list. The link will be in the description. Those who sign up to my email list will no longer be considered a casual. This past Saturday, New Jersey legend Jim Miller absolutely starched an up-and-comer. For those of you not in the know, Jim Miller started his pro career before I even started training in martial arts. I started training back in 2007. His first pro fight was back in 2006. And he's still getting after it. Keep crushing the hopes and dreams of these up-and-comers, Jim Miller. I salute you. Apparently this weekend, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu had yet another controversy. And no, this time, it wasn't about Secret Juice or Gordon Ryan. It was about Mark Zuckerberg. There was some controversy that he might have been choked out at a local Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. Everyone at Meta says this is absolutely false. And clearly, Meta would never lie to us. Now, as a black belt and an instructor in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I am completely against sandbagging. But I would certainly make an exception if I could choke out Mark Zuckerberg. Recently, in an attempt to win the whole martial arts community, Sean Strickland has taken aim at Bilal Muhammad. Sean Strickland made a video of him calling out Bilal Muhammad. Then Bilal Muhammad made a video after of him saying that he wasn't being called out, which is kind of odd. The latest in that is that Sean Strickland has challenged Bilal Muhammad to the man dance in a parking lot. If I'm being honest, I would say this bout ends with Bilal Muhammad winning a decision by pinning Sean Strickland to the passenger door of a car until everyone watching gets tired and bored and just walks away. If this were to happen, Sean Strickland would become everyone's GOAT. And speaking of Sean Strickland, if you haven't caught his podcast, The Man Dance, catch it now before it gets canceled. You will not be disappointed. After a long layoff, the UFC is returning to Canada, and Canadians are not too happy about their main event, as this card is headlined by Amanda Nunes and Irene Aldana. I mean, come on. After what, 3-4 years of the UFC not being in Canada, this is the main event they give them? A women's main event? Now, I can speak on this because I'm a feminist. I'm so much of a feminist that I refuse to watch women fight MMA. Women's MMA is the equivalent of watching prepubescent boys fight. Sure, it's cute, but do we really want to see that? Wait, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, not to take away from the talent of these young ladies, but let's face it, even the most talented women is not worth shelling out close to $100 to watch this pay-per-view. Not that any of us actually pay for pay-per-views nowadays. So I think the UFC was a big sorry to the Canadian fans. However, not all is terrible on the UFC 289 card. Beneil Dariush and Charles Oliveira will be going at it in a possible fight for the #1 contendership for the lightweight belt. Now this fight's a bit of a toss-up, but one thing is guaranteed. Charles Oliveira will get dropped, win or lose. Another highlight on the card is a gentleman who I think has the possibility to be an American Conor McGregor. Nate Landwehr goes head-to-head against Danny Gay. Both guys are exciting fighters, and Nate Landwehr has not disappointed yet in the UFC. So I look forward to those bouts, and I look less forward to the main event. I could be talking all this trash, and that main event ends up being a barn burner. Sometimes that happens. It's not likely, but sometimes. This past Saturday night, at the UFC Fight Night post-fight press conference, Dana White laid down the challenge for Tyson Fury. He said if Tyson Fury wants to make his debut in an MMA cage, that Dana White would certainly find the money for him if he would fight MMA's GOAT, Jon Jones. It is in my humble opinion that Tyson Fury is certainly the boxing GOAT, especially when it comes to heavyweight boxing. And you cannot deny that Jon Jones is certainly the MMA GOAT, roids and all. I don't give a shit about roids. If this fight were to happen, this would certainly be unprecedented. Sure, we've seen boxers make their way into the MMA ring, and we've seen MMA fighters make their way into the boxing ring. But it's very rare that we get two of these competitors close to their primes, or in their primes, to face off, especially in an MMA cage. Because we all know, as tough as boxers talk, them getting in an MMA cage will not work out well for them. The reason why a boxer hasn't entered an MMA cage, in his prime that is because they just don't have the training. They don't have the grappling training for it. It takes a very long time. Trust me, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for 16 years. It takes a very long time to get proficient at these arts. Now, not to take away from getting proficient at boxing, it certainly takes a long time to do the same in boxing. However, MMA guys pretty much start striking since the beginning of their training. That's why a boxing bout between an MMA fighter and a boxer seems like it's always going to be competitive, even though it usually isn't. There have been MMA fighters that have done well, but I think it's safe to say that when you put an MMA fighter against a boxer, the boxer is usually going to win that, just because of the amount of training. If you put Tyson Fury with Jon Jones in an MMA cage, Jon Jones, I impregnate him.
I'm gonna make him.
I still want to see it. I still want to see the boxer that has the balls to get in the MMA cage. We know the MMA fighters are very quick to get in the boxing ring. Hell, they'll get in there with Jake Paul, risk their legacies. It's happened before. It's happening still. Dana White has said that he's not interested in gimmick fights. However, he's willing to shell out the cash or find the cash for this gimmick fight. They'd sell out anywhere they go. Even though we all know that Jon Jones would absolutely obliterate Tyson Fury. Now Dana White says that it would be for the UFC title. So that means Tyson Fury would have to try to make 265. And he's a big boy walking around at almost 300 pounds. I, for one, think, don't even make it for the title. Listen, Dana White made a BMF title. It should be something similar to that. And to give Tyson Fury a fair shake, let him come in at whatever weight he wants. Then we can at least think that Jon Jones might lose. Well, Dana White's talking about it, so we're getting close. We're getting close. It could happen. We never thought Floyd Mayweather and Conor would happen, but it happened. So Floyd and Conor paved the way for a big bout like this. So we can cross our fingers and hope it happens. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. And I'll see you guys next time on Tony's MMA Corner. Spinning elbow. I love broads.